Hello and welcome to Star Wars Obsessed. And yep, we're back at the Cantina, and I have another character to add to this display. Momaw Nadon, quote-unquote hammerhead, with double-barreled blaster rifle. That's right, Momaw Nadon. From the Power of the Force 2 collection, which came out in 1996. Before I take Momaw Nadon off the card, let's learn a little bit more about this character. We can get some information from Star Wars, the Essential Guide to Characters. And there's Momaw Nadon. Species Ithlorian. Sex male, hair color none, eye color brown. Height 1.95 meters, homeworld Ithor. Political affiliation, the Alliance. Ooh, very cool. Weapons of choice, the blaster. Vehicle of choice, city ship Tafanda Bay. First appearance in Star Wars A New Hope. A peaceful gardener on a paradise planet, Momaw Nadon never expected to be exiled to Tatooine or to ally himself with the Alliance. Nadon is an Ithorian, a species called hammerheads throughout the galaxy. Their heads are shaped like an S, with long, curved necks topped by a T-shaped cranium. Ithlorians have mouths on both sides of their curved necks, giving them an odd stereo sound when they speak. Their feet are spread out and resemble thin tree trunks. Ithor is an isolated paradise, almost completely undeveloped. Many of the Ithorians live in herds, floating cities that migrate about the planet's 3 civilized continents. Still, others travel throughout the galaxy in space-going herds selling unusual merchandise. The gentle, optimistic, peace-loving Ithorians prefer work in agricultural, artistic, diplomatic, mercantile, or spacefaring fields. A select number choose to take on the mantle of ecological priests, keeping the mother jungle preserved and unharmed. Momaw was once the high priest herd leader of the grand herd ship Tafanda Bay, a grand planetary visitor center full of beautiful vegetation and graceful plastisteel towers. Although initially oblivious to the evil spread of the Empire, he soon awoke to the evil growing outside Ithor. He was stunned when the Star Destroyer Conquest began orbiting the planet. The Imperials began scrutinizing and interrogating Ithorians quietly at first, but more brazenly as months went by. The herd leaders knew that something was amiss in the galaxy. Aboard the Tafanda Bay, biospheres replicated every type of terrain and weather pattern known on Ithor and many other planets of the galaxy. The Empire wanted the agricultural secrets of the Ithorians, but for religious reasons, the Ithorians protected them strongly. The Imperials initially tried to entice several hammerheads to spy for them, but none would. Tired of delays, the Imperials sent 6 people to raid the files in the Tafanda Bay's computer network. When the spies were banished and the herd ships closed to off-worlders, the Conquest captain Alima became enraged. His men trained the destroyer's turbolasers on the sentient forests of Cathor Hills, killing thousands of Bathor trees. Alima then issued an ultimatum. Either the Ithorians turned over their agricultural secrets, or he would begin to destroy the Tafanda Bay. It befell Momaw Nadon to reply to the Imperials. Seeing no way to avoid destruction of Ithor's nature, Nadon gave the Imperials the data they requested. The Ithorians were angry, and Momaw was stripped of his power and put on trial. Although he gave an impassioned and controversial speech, Nadon was exiled from Ithor until the next meet of the herds, 3 standard years later. Wandering from spaceport to spaceport, Momaw eventually ended up on Tatooine, where he stayed for several years. There was little vegetation on the planet, and he felt he was doing penance by tending the sand and by using his agricultural knowledge to create new forms of plant life that would thrive on arid Tatooine. With money from the investments he made, Nadon lived in an opulent plant-filled villa in the midst of Mos Eisley. He had 7 black-leaved Bathor trees brought in, as well as a poisonous Arul cactus, a phosphorescent gorsa tree, and a hungry Aleth plant. An underground secret shelter for 6 beings was hidden underneath a large semi-intelligent carnivorous plant known as the Vesuvage hanging tree. He used the space to aid the rebellion on missions to Tatooine, providing information and sheltering fugitives. Before he left Tatooine, Nadon was able to exact his vengeance against the Empire. The recently demoted Lieutenant Alima had been stationed on Tatooine as punishment. When stormtroopers began questioning natives about 2 missing droids, Nadon had his Tal's friend Muftak sell news of his aid to the rebels to Alima. Lieutenant Alima came to his house alone, sure that Momaw didn't have enough violence in him to be a threat. The Imperial killed a Bafor, threatening Nadon that if he didn't find the missing droids through his rebel contacts, his whole garden would be destroyed in front of him. Angry enough to kill, Momaw purchased a blaster rifle and confronted Alima in an alley. The Hammerhead was tricked by the Imperial and stunned. With less than a day left on Alima's deadline, Momaw planned how he would finally, irrevocably, kill the lieutenant. He went to the Mos Eisley Cantina, where he sat with Muftak and Cabe, his spirits dark. Momaw didn't pay attention when a fight broke out near the bar, but he was shocked at what he witnessed next. The old man, Ben Kenobi, used a Jedi lightsaber fighting off an obnoxious human and an equally foul Aqualish. Nauseated by the bloodshed, Momaw left the cantina, but not before he had intuited that the droids Kenobi had brought into the bar were the same ones Alima was seeking. As he returned home, Momaw prepared for his destiny. Then, laser shot rang out at a nearby docking bay and stormtroopers rushed from all over. As the Millennium Falcon blasted skyward, Momaw watched, knowing the droids were on board. Then, as Alima tried to find someone to blame, Momaw Nadon stepped forward. The Ithorian called out to the captain, telling him that he had told Alima the previous evening that Solo would be escaping with the droids. In a rage at the traitor's actions, the captain shot Alima 3 times. Momaw watched in shock as the Imperials left the man's body cooling on the street. To atone for the death he had caused, Momaw took 2 genetic samples from Alima. He would use the cloning facilities on Ithor to create 2 lives from 1 death. Following the death of Emperor Palpatine, Momaw departed Tatooine and returned to Ithor for the meet. There, he was able to convince the convened elders to support the alliance. Momaw was reinstated as herd leader of Tafanda Bay and reunited with his wife and son. He continued to work hard to make amends for his perceived misdeeds. The twin Alima clones grew in peace and wisdom. When the Alliance asked for his help, Nadon was also quick to aid them. When Wedge Antilles took the brilliant scientist Kui Zu to Ithor for a vacation, Mon Mothma asked Nadon to be their guide and protector if need be. Nadon arranged for luxurious staterooms for the 2 Alliance members, then got them an open-air skimmer to allow them to sightsee above the pristine Ithorian landscape. But the Ithorian was not able to prevent Keep Duron from sneaking into Kui Zu's stateroom and erasing her memories with his dark side force talents. Whether this failure will drive Momaw Nadon back into depression and penance has yet to be seen. Alright, what an amazing backstory! Now let's take this off the card! Alright, here he is. 5 points of articulation. Does this come off? I guess it can't go around the head. Oh, maybe. Let's see. Oh, look at that. How cool. Articulation at the waist. And then arms, legs, and head. A little bit. There we go. Different colorings, little browns and little grays. A lot of fine detail with his, you can see his mouth on the side there, on both sides. It's got the same, like a hoodie kind of thing. Put this back on. Get on there. Okay, and his, quite an amazing blaster he's got there. Wow, that thing is huge. Very cool looking though. I'm going to make a comparison with Momaw Nadon and Hammerhead. Momaw Nadon, Hammerhead. Momaw Nadon, Hammerhead. Momaw Nadon meet Hammerhead. 2 very different characters wearing very different looking clothing. Do we see his mouth on the side? Can't see the mouth on this one. Vintage Hammerhead, Momaw Nadon. The blaster and Momaw Nadon's blaster. Very different. Let's head on to the Cantina. Momaw Nadon is going to have a chat with his best buddy, Hammerhead. They haven't seen each other in years, and now they're just catching up. Isn't that awesome? Thank you for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. You can follow Star Wars Obsessed on Instagram and Facebook. See you on the next Star Wars Obsessed.